Hey, I'm on a city council meeting. Can I call you back when it's over?
Sure, sorry, I didn't know that.
No, that's okay. You all right? Okay.
Totally fine. Just give me a call when you can.
Okay, bye.
Sorry, that's okay. It's been our understanding that the city and/or Saltmarsh will be responsible for fixing any problems or complications for a period of 1 year after that date of completion. So my question is that true? Am I misinformed? Is that accurate? And then I question, does it seem reasonable that a brand new sewer line is expected to have a 1-year shelf life, especially considered the depth and breadth that this project has experienced due to substandard construction? Many concerns. Over the past 15 months, last year really, several times I've run into my neighbors on the street, and the question is always, Rachel, when is this going to be done? When is it going to be finished? What's going on? And my response has always been, you know, as long as it's done right, we're talking sewage here, as long as it's done right, it's okay. I want them to take their time. I want it to be done the right way so we don't have problems. If it takes a little longer, so be it. But we're talking 15 months here. It's almost a year and a half. So there are those questions. And of course, if you're taking a ride down, you know, it's kind of like the Oregon Trail without the ruts. It's a roadbed. There is no pavement. And when there is pavement, there have been holes, like holes that you can put a stick into and go down. And I can share that with you. That's a separate issue, but cities should also be aware of the fact that a lot of elderly people, and even older than me, walk up and down that street for exercise on a regular basis. And considering the condition of the road, and the fact that there are cave-ins on the road, I would think from a liability standard, people would be shaking. So, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rachel. I know that Mr. Drew was here and maybe a little bit later on, we can get some of those questions answered. Did you want to add anything? Did Rachel cover anything for you? Yeah. Anything else from the board wishing to address the council at this time? So I recognize the Caseys are here. If you have a public comment, this would be the time to make the comment, or if you're just here to see the presentation. I take it back. There's an agenda item, and you can add a public comment at the end of that. All right. Anybody else last call? Public comment. Oh, you do. I'm sorry. So Carol has one that was submitted in writing earlier today. You want to read it into the record, please?
This is from Karen Baldwin, Walpole. To the mayor, I live at 377 Wimbledon Gate North, and I'm contacting you regarding the solar farm going up behind the houses on this street. I've already spoken to several very nice folks at City Hall, all of them stating that the matter of the solar farm is strictly in the hands of the state of Connecticut. I will be contacting them today as well. My question to you is how the residents of Wimbledon Gate will be compensated for the significant loss we will incur as a result of the thousands of solar panels that will be installed in and around this neighborhood. If the corporation responsible for this has the opportunity to request a tax abatement, then I expect to be considered for one as well. Each one of us will take a massive loss in the value of our homes when the solar farm corporation breaks in the profits. I've already spoken to my attorney regarding the matter of tax abatement, and she assured me that I have every right to pursue this. Please contact me via this email address.
Thank you. Right, if there are no other public comments, we'll move right into item number 2. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held September 20, 2020. Councilwoman Wagner.
Second.
And Councilman Medina. Questions on the minutes or the motion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Glad you're sounding back, David. Item 3, I'll entertain a motion to accept the mayor's appointment of Molly Spino to the Economic Development Commission from the remainder of the 5-year term, which expires on February 9th, 2023.
So moved.
Second, Councilwoman Warren, second, Councilwoman Wagner. Questions on the motion?
My only question is, are we now at full complement?
We are still looking for filling the vacancy. I believe there were a couple of candidates that expressed interest that we were waiting for. Thank you. Other questions? I'll call the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 4. This is a presentation regarding, it says pending solar project, but as I understand it, the City Council has approved this solar project. And I'm not sure who is online to do the presentation.
Allie Weaver's on.
Okay. Okay, so I know that your camera is not on. Did you want to activate your camera? And do you have a screen share you wish to present?
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you. Did you ask me to go ahead and start my presentation?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. I'm sorry about that. I'll turn my video on briefly to introduce myself. My name is Allie Weaver, and I'm the Director of Project Development for Silicon Ranch. I'd like to thank the council for having me tonight to discuss our solar project located in the towns of Torrington and Litchfield. Give me a moment and I'll share my screen. Hoping everyone can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. A little bit about Silicon Ranch. Our company was founded in 2011 out of state government. It was founded by the former governor of Tennessee, Governor Phil Bredesen, and 2 of his commissioners on staff, the Commissioner of Revenue, Reagan Farr, and the Commissioner of Economic Development, Matt Kisber. While they were in office from 2000 to 2012, they put together a pretty robust economic development toolkit in an effort to attract and recruit new renewable energy companies that they were calling green collar jobs. So they really focused around the manufacturing space. They saw through their work in legislation that the renewable energy sector was going to be taking off, and they wanted to do everything they could while they were in office to make sure that Tennessee had a slice of the pie. After they left office, then they formed Silicon Ranch to get started on their own work. And a part of their business model from day one was to be a long-term owner operator and be able to have the expertise in-house to be a developer, finance projects, and then own these long-term. And I'd say even a decade later, as we say today, that's still a bit unique in the industry. There's a lot of developers that flip projects out and don't necessarily own and operate their facilities. We're proud to say that we've never sold a project and at this point don't have any intention to do so. We are now at 140 projects from coast to coast operating in 15 states. We've got a portfolio of over 1.1 gigawatts of operating facilities. And by the end of the year, we'll turn on another 650 megawatts of facilities that'll get us to just over 1.7 gigawatts of systems. We're also very proud of our 100% execution track record. We've completed every project for which we've signed a PPA for. A bit about the Sr Litchfield Project. I wanted to start at the high level. I think most people are familiar with the location at this point, but we're just south of Highland Ave, off of Rossi and Wilson Road. The project is just shy of 20 megawatts. It's 19.8 megawatt facility. We do own 215 acres of property across 5 parcels, but the facility itself will be a 71 acre footprint amongst those parcels. We'll have over 50,000 solar panels on site, and we'll be looking to utilize the Hanwha Q cells, 475 watt panel. Previous to June 2021, the standard was a 455 watt panel for the previous years past. And so we're very excited to be able to get our hands on the latest technology for this project. And I'll go into a bit more detail as the presentation goes on, kind of a distinction between the 2 panels and what it's allowed us to do over time here. The facility will generate enough power to power 3,000 homes annually. And the commercial operation date is June 21st of 2022. The project will be fully funded by Silicon Ranch, and our total capital investment is estimated between $30 and $40 million. So for those that may have been following along in the siting council process, this is the original layout that we had submitted back in February of 2021 this year with our original application. And this was using, at that time, the greatest technology that we could get our hands on, the 455 watt panel. Because of the updates and the improvements that we saw, we did work with Hanwha Q cells to procure the latest module to get the 475 watt panel. So we did resubmit to Siting Council an updated design, which allowed us to shrink our footprint of the facility across the 5 different parcels. Being able to procure the module, just to kind of hone in on that a bit more, I'm sure as you guys know, a lot of supply chains across different industries have been disrupted over the last 18 months. And so for us to secure this new panel was a really big win for us, and we're grateful to have been able to work with Hanwha to do so. And as I continue to move through the next few slides, I'll be pointing out some of the different areas where we were able to improve upon the layout with different buffers to wetlands and other features. This is a comparison map with a direct overlay of the old layout versus the new layout that was approved by Siting Council. There's a lot of detail and it is a bit granular, but this is available on Siting Council's website, and I'm happy to send it out as well after this meeting for folks if you'd like to take a closer look. And then in the next couple of slides, I'm going to be going area by area here. So focusing in on area 1, for context, this is Highland Avenue here. So the north arrow would be facing this side. By getting this new panel here, we were able to remove several rows of panels here, which allowed us to substantially shrink our limit of disturbance by 6.5 acres in this area. And if you can look down here, you'll see this kind of checkered marking. This represents that reduced limit of disturbance, where it used to previously be was down on this line. And you can see we've been able to pull it all the way north here. We also reduced our access road here from the standard 16 feet to 12 feet, which allowed us to have a 50% reduction in this impact to this wetland crossing here. And then also we're able to save 6.3 acres of trees in this design. In area 2, this is the largest block. For reference, this is Wilson Road here to the south that is being shown, that turns into Rossi here. Again, several rows of panels reduced because of the higher wattage panel. We've shrunk our limit of disturbance by 11.75 acres. So a really great savings here in this area. And we're able to reduce our tree clearing by 9 acres across this total section. There is an existing crossing to this Gulf Stream here. For those familiar with the site, we've got a really beautiful Gulf Stream located on the property with an existing agricultural crossing that's never been improved. We are going to be closing that access point there, and we'll be moving our access road further south as to not have any impacts to the Gulf Stream. And so what this gray line represents is a removal of a road that no longer exists. And then we've also removed a laydown yard here. The space was large enough where we're going to be able to kind of quote unquote build our way out of the area instead of having a separate laydown yard. So all of those collective improvements allowed us to substantially reduce the stormwater pond 8 and 10. And then in area 3, for context, here we've got Litchfield Town Farm Road that runs between the two, Rossi and Wilson here on the north side of the screen. Again, several rows of panels removed. We've reduced our limited disturbance by 4.3 acres, had a tree clearing reduction of just over half of an acre, removed an access road off of Town Farm Road, so that way we didn't have duplicates. And then we reduced the overall size of the stormwater pond 2, and we split it into 2 smaller stormwater ponds that you can see there on the site. So overall, very big cumulative impacts to this change in technology, 50% reduction in earthwork. We have 100-foot buffers maintained to the Gulf Stream, all the vernal pools and wetlands on site. We will have the one crossing of the wetland, but a 50% reduction there. We're at just over 4,500 square feet of wetland impacts for the one road crossing. So you can see some really great improvements made from being able to secure the technology that we have. And then for those interested just on a jurisdictional case here, Torrington with Litchfield, the property of the 215 acres that we own, about 102 are located in Torrington. About 37, nearly 38 acres of the project is going to be located in Torrington. So just over half. That represents a little over 10.5 megawatts of the facility and 7.7 acres of tree clearing that will occur. For our schedule, we are now in the process of submitting the development and maintenance plan, which is a common requirement to submit to siting council for a project of this size. Pending the timing of approval of that plan, we expect to get mobilizing and start the tree clearing in Q1 of next year for the commercial operation date of June 21, 2022. And just to close, I'd like to say that Silicon Ranch, we're excited to deliver another world-class facility and appreciate the opportunity to be members of the Torrington community. So thank you for your warm welcome. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions that the council may have.
Okay, thank you, Ellen.
Thank
So questions from the council?
I
Yes,
have some, I'm taking my mask off.
yes, please.
I spent a number of hours over the last 2 days since I saw Silicon Ranch on the agenda. I am sorry that due to their own obligations, Councilwoman Ruette and Councilman Cavanero cannot be here this evening because I know they had great concern with the Baroque project along with my own, which also spurred me on to do some research. Some of your statistics tonight have changed from what I saw the last few days. Some of it is positive impact, positive news, but I still have a lot of concerns. And Instead of asking you one at a time, I'm going to go through them, and then I can supply a copy of this to Carol so that if anybody wants to see it, that's fine. As far as I know, the first knowledge that we had as council, and I'm on 2 years, was when Stephen Ivey made comments at the public session. Later during the mayor and council comment period, the following took place, and I have a copy of the mayor's comment regarding Silicon Ranch. Stephen Ivey said that he was concerned about the impact on diversity, environment, public safety, and those things. At the end of the meeting, Councilman Cavanero expressed concern about he expressed concern about the future of the project, and we would like to have a further discussion on the proposed project with representatives from Silicon Ranch, so you're here tonight. The mayor agreed that a discussion could be arranged, but she explained that any decision regarding the future of the project would be up to the Connecticut Siting Council. Councilman Cavanero also requested that a joint meeting with the Board of Education, that's something else. So I have a copy of those comments, and I have also a copy of the Siting Council Citizens Guide to Siting Council Procedures on how to obtain intervenor or party status. The city could have applied for that, and we have no record that, I have no record that that was done, or that we would have the ability to have a public meeting so that residents nearby would have an opportunity to weigh in, instead of coming here tonight and having only a presentation to council without any public input. I have copies of 2 Siting Council petitions where North Stonington and New Milford successfully requested public hearings. The minutes of this Litchfield Board of Selectmen from October 3rd, 2017. This was a surprise to me because with the city, sorry, I have it here and I don't want to mess it up. 2017 was the first discussion of this. And as I said, this has been our first, or my first, indication that we were discussing this. This is 4 years later. Okay, on the, I have a copy of the minutes. This was October 3rd, 2017. A presentation by MSL Group for a solar park. Real Paul reminded the board of its previous discussion on this project. They explained the proposal was a solar park with somewhere about 80,000 solar panels on 100-acre property. The Siting Council has to approve the project before they can purchase the land from the Rossin family. The site is partially in Torrington off Rossin Road, but mostly in Litchfield on Wilson Road and the Town Farm Road. They would like to get approvals in 3 or 4 months, start the building in March, and be done in November 2018. With this designation and agreement from Eversource, this could generate electricity at a discounted rate for qualifying residents in senior living communities. They would design the park to meet the planning and zoning regulations. P&Z would review the plan and provide input in an advisory capacity. Later in that meeting, they decided they would set up a conference call with Litchfield Housing Trust and Jim Simoncelli of the Housing Authority to discuss community solar opportunities for discounted power for housing trust locations. Last year, residents of the Greenbrier neighborhood located in Torrington were given an opportunity for a public hearing over Zoom. I attended myself and listened to the concerns regarding the impact of a proposed apartment complex and the impact on the nearby environment, especially the existing wetlands. Microbursts and heavy rains have consistently washed out roads and driveways in that area. That complex is not happening. Our Torrington Plan of Conservation and Development includes protection of scenic resources, ridgelines, and local neighborhoods. Destruction of farmland is a no-no. The Department of Agriculture does not support the cutting of many trees due to the effect on water runoff into nearby wetlands, and in fact, wrote a letter articulating that they do not support this project specifically. This project includes the installation of 51,300 solar panels, each measuring 6.5 feet by 3.25 feet. When multiplied and laid out in space with no space between them, would totally approximate 28 acres of impervious slanted solar panels. Heavy rains would mean that tons of water would be flowing into and overflowing nearby wetlands and streams over flattened soil. My concerns: why is this the first time that Torrington City Council is receiving the details on this project when Litchfield officially approved it 4 years ago? We are told that 20% of this project lies within Torrington And while you cut down on acreage, what I'm seeing tonight in your comments is that it is more of a 50-50 split and not a 20%. The Verogi project adjacent to Bishop Donnelly Field came into being after 2017, and despite the concerns and questions of neighbors and several of our council members, we were told we had no voice. Decision was made by siting council, and the citizens guide says that that's not the case. Was this a test case? Because it is interesting that both entities are represented by the same legal counsel. I have a map here of the National Wetlands Inventory, which includes that entire area. You were asking for fast track approval. If you have fast track approval, you don't have to prove environmental compatibility and public need. Is there a stormwater permit issued by DEEP? Theoretically, Torrington can also participate in this process, becoming a party, which is, I believe, the path that New Milford took. They have successfully fought and won the applicant's process 4 times, and they've won to date. When we state that Torrington has no role there, are we then correct or incorrect? What comments have been made by our Conservation Commission? Did this project go to inland waterways? Has the Army Corps of Engineers weighed in? On May 19th, 2020, Silicon Ranch announced a partnership with Eversource and United Illuminating to supply the Litchfield community with no mention of Torrington, 20 megawatts of power by next summer, 2022. Litchfield received promises and commitment, yet 50% of the land lies in Torrington in separate fields, and the potential impact on Upper Highland Avenue and Greenbrier, with many trees removed and residents still unaware. I do not believe there is a partnership as much as I believe the Litchfield Board of Selectmen were sold a promise of a project called a community solar park, providing low-cost energy to senior housing and other qualifying residents. I could not find that this classification exists in Connecticut. And in those 2017 Board of Selectmen minutes, they were also planning to set up a conference call with the Litchfield Housing Trust and Housing Authority to discuss discounted power. They were also told very few trees would be taken down for this project. We have earlier statements on record predating all of this with the Army Corps of Engineers concerned over removal of culverts and the effect of overflows on streams. The Torrington Conservation Commission in 2010 discussed the need to protect and preserve the connecting water courses. The state of Connecticut has no master plan for siting generational facilities, which translates to communities needing to be involved where they lose control and their own POCDs lose their importance. That's our plan of conservation and development will hold no weight whatsoever. 21st century concerns include devastating weather events, global warming, and climate change, along with the impact on native species of all types. The removal of many trees and the water impact from 28 acres of panels will have a negative impact. Looking forward, where is the energy produced by the panels going? What are the details of the partnership with Litchfield? Is there one we don't know about with Torrington? What is the decommissioning responsibility? Is it with Silicon Ranch Litchfield, Silicon Ranch? What about the 50% in Torrington? The narrative says this was a 40-year project, but the life expectancy of solar panels is 25 years. We need to know the statutory requirements for this project, which would include a decommissioning bond. In New Milford, it was determined that the required amount from the state was not enough and too late, too close to the end of the project lifespan. How will Torrington be affected? Are we seeking a decommissioning bond which would be to our benefit? Are they asking for tax abatements, and is that the reason for tonight's presentation? Notes from the Litchfield Board of Selectmen indicate they have requested one from that community. The ownership of Silicon Ranch is quite complicated. It is a company based in Tennessee with a Silicon Ranch company, LLC in Delaware. That means that it's possible we will not reap the tax benefits within the state of Connecticut. I am not opposed to solar energy, and I am in fact a strong proponent of reducing fossil fuel use. However, we have seen success where solar panels are installed on rooftops, especially on the flat roofs of larger buildings and corporations, and feel we could do better by approaching some of our manufacturers and larger buildings in our community. We have a closed landfill that would be perfect for a solar array. I just cannot accept that destruction of natural forests and farmland has to take place. Why would someone want to build a house in our more remote area of Torrington, thinking they have a wonderful natural setting while being not far from a vibrant downtown? Vast solar arrays replacing natural forests and woodland is especially wrong when the taxpayers and communities are led to believe they have no voice. tax abatements sound wonderful, but they give those who receive them a number of years know exactly what they will pay. Well, we work diligently every year to create a budget that will pay for our costs, not knowing what our costs will be because of unexpected weather events or increases in insurance or other items. That's all.
Did you get all of those, Alan?
I have some things.
And I don't know that there's anything there that you were gleaning that you can answer questions in regard.
Sorry, was that a question directed at me? I
Yeah.
apologize. Okay,
Yeah.
could you repeat
Well, I
that
think
again?
it's
I'm sorry.
I think there's a combination. That was a dissertation that, was questioning the city's role prior to this, and a few questions about the project itself and whether or not Silicon Ranch is requesting a tax abatement or any kind of an energy contract with the city.
Or did we have prior knowledge before this last 3 months? Because Litchfield has been working on this since 2017, and to my knowledge, Torrington has not had this information since until this past August, but that I could be totally wrong on that one. So that's another question that I have. That's and
So could you start with that question? So in 2017, when Silicon Ranch first started looking at the possibility, it's my understanding that this was being done under, you had mentioned prior administration at DECD, and those credits were not awarded, so the project lay dormant for a while. Is that correct?
If I can, I can start from the top, and then I think hopefully cascade and answer a few of those questions at the same time. And I do apologize. I think you guys can see I'm not quite hearing all the questions clearly. So if I miss something, please let me know, and I'll certainly do my best to answer. So Silicon Ranch acquired these projects in 2017 from the previous developer. I think the counselor referenced MSL, and they previously were operating, I'm not quite sure, under different entity names. Of course, I can't speak for the conversations that happened before Silicon Ranch acquired the project at that point, but we did take over in June of 2017. And since then have been working to reach out to the community, and that's included the town of Litchfield officials, and that's also included the town of Torrington officials as well. We did send mailers out to the town, you guys, to get notified through the siting council process. Formally, we have been trying to, from our side, reach out. Granted, it's also all coinciding with the timing of COVID, where everyone started working from home as well. And so, where we started putting together our presentation, our application packets to be going through to siting council. So I would say that the timing, was a bit unfortunate in that realm. And I can understand why the town feels like we haven't made the same efforts to reach out to Torrington as we have Litchfield. But, from our side, we do feel like we have done that, and we're happy to do that now. And then answer as many questions through however many meetings it takes for us to do that, to address your concerns.
Right. And did notices also go out to all of the abutting property owners?
If I heard you correctly, the question was, did we notice property owners adjacent to us? And the answer to that is yes. If that wasn't the question, please let me know.
Yes, no, that was the question.
Okay.
So Sharon, could you call out some of the other questions? Just so they're more pointed and she can answer them as she does.
Definitely. I didn't want to be, taking a question at a time. I thought it would be longer. I have not seen any record of notification. I'm not in a butter, so I don't know that. I've talked to people up in that area. I've heard from people in the Greenbrier area that are concerned. It's not directly abutting, but it's within view. So people are very concerned about that. They have a view, they have an environmental setting that they really appreciate. And the fact that acres of solar panels in an array will replace trees and change their view and their setting. is hurtful to them. They're very upset about that. We had, I have petitions from North Stonington and New Milford where they successfully requested public hearings. Yet I don't know if something came to us and we did not have the opportunity to request one. I feel that we are not following through on behalf of our city, on our taxpayers in general, when we're making a big commitment to something like this. It's not just the abutters who are involved when it's a city project and the potential for city gaining solar power, reduced costs, or some effect like that. Also, if at some point the city is going to be asked for a tax abatement, this then comes to council again, and I just feel that it's not being done transparently so that the city is aware and all city officials are aware.
So if I can, I'm going to rephrase that question for her. So the question is, at this point in time, public hearings, as far as all of the public hearings, all of the hearings on this are citing council hearings. Notices of the citing council hearings were posted. And Silicon Ranch, did you notify the abutting property owners of those public hearings as well?
Yeah, so we sent notifications out, mailers to the abutters actually in October of 2020 in advance notice, which was not a part of the siting council process, but we sent mailers out to everybody to say, hey, we know it's been a while since you've heard from us. We wanted to reach back out because this project is moving forward and we'll be submitting our application soon. It had my contact information on it, and we invited our neighbors to feel free to reach out to me directly, as the company representative, to talk about the project and any questions they may have. And then when we submitted our application to siting council, the abutters and all of the jurisdictions or the different authorities, if you will, having jurisdiction, the Corps, the Commission of Agriculture, the town, everyone gets a notice of our project as well through that process. And that was in February of 2021 when we formally filed.
Along those lines,
May I ask something then?
Sure.
And I understand it's a siting council public hearing. I'm not questioning who is the person in charge of doing a public hearing. But as a city councilwoman for 2 years, I certainly didn't know there was a public hearing. And I don't know that others did or didn't. I can only speak for myself. But the city of Torrington is actually a party, like it or not, to any development, whether it's a solar array or a housing development that takes place. Once 1 foot of one person from our public safety, fire or police, or public works, or something is on their property for whatever an incident or a situation may arise, we are a party to that. So I just feel that we have not been given enough notice, I don't think, as an elected official representing all of the community, not just a singular party, because I don't believe in party politics. I think I represent the entire community, and I want to see this open and apparent so that everyone is aware of the information. And a public hearing, whether it's posted, if it's sponsored by the city or by the siting council, should be public knowledge.
okay, so I'm going to again try to call some questions out of that statement. Did Silicon Ranch make any presentation to the Planning and Zoning or Inland Wetlands Commissions in the city of Torrington?
I'm sorry, your question came across muffled. Do you mind repeating it, please?
Sure. Did Silicon Ranch make any presentations to the Planning and Zoning Commission or Inland Wetlands Commissions in regard to this project?
No, we have not made any presentations to the Planning and Zoning Commission or the Inland and Wetland Commission. I will say that we did give a presentation to the selectmen of Litchfield in May of 2020. And we had reached out to the mayor's office to try to set up a similar presentation that we didn't hear back on. Granted, I understand it was May of 2020 and there was a lot going on then too.
Right, so no Planning and Zoning Commission, no Inland Wetlands Commission. And I'm not sure that I don't know how Silicon Ranch reached out to my office. I don't recall getting any requests for a presentation. But at this point in time, with this project where it stands, and I hear Councilwoman Wagner's concern, is Silicon Ranch asking the city for a tax abatement or an energy purchase agreement of any sort?
So we already have a power purchase agreement in place. The power is going to be bought by Eversource and United Illuminating. So no, we are not asking the city for any type of energy purchase agreement. During this meeting, I'm also not asking for a tax abatement. It's certainly something that we typically explore on all of our projects. And we've been meeting with members of staff at the town of Torrington to have discussions about how we can be members of the community, and take part in different activities. And as a part of that discussion, we've also talked about abatements. So not to say that we may not come forward in front of the council in the future, but today I'm not asking that of you.
All right, further questions for Ally or Silicon Ranch? All right, Ally, thank you very much. This didn't require any actions. It was just a presentation. So at this point, thank you very much for your time. Ally, could you kindly forward that PowerPoint presentation to the city clerk, and she can share it with the city council members? Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Mayor, if you don't mind, I'd just like to say too that we want this process to be open and transparent, and it sounds like there's a lot of lingering questions and concerns that have not been addressed. So I offer anyone to call me directly at any time, but also typically we'll have an open house or some type of community event before we start construction to get the community members together to have conversation. But I'd say in the shorter term, if I can be back in front of the council or have one-on-one meetings, however we can start addressing the community's concerns, we would certainly like to do so because we want this to be a transparent process. So I thank you for having me tonight and hope this was the first of many conversations.
Sure, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll move into item 5 on the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adopt resolution number 143-221, authorizing the mayor to partner with Superior Properties LLC and apply for round 14 of the state of Connecticut Brownfield Grant Program, seeking remediation funds for 245 East Elm Street. Councilman Wagner, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Walker. All right, questions on the motion? No questions. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 6. This is a discussion of the facade and building improvement program. If there's a decision or if the council wishes to entertain a motion, we would have to add it to the agenda by 2/3 before we can take any action on this. So did you want to read this?
So, 2 weeks ago, the last meeting, we were here talking about the facade and building improvement program, and we talked about, the incredible demand that we had that far exceeded the money that was originally allocated for this project. The commission did, or the city council did approve 8 applications, at their last meeting. Not totally, that should be totaling, just over $94,000. Some of these projects are already underway, and everybody has been notified of their award. And since then, the program advisory committee and our economic development commission reviewed the remaining applications, and we did make the following recommendations. And if you recall, we discussed briefly about allocating some of our American Rescue Plan funding that would qualify for this program so that we can fund more of the programs
than just the original 150,000 that we had. So I do have handed out a couple of spreadsheets and I'll go through it. I'm sorry, I didn't email it sooner so that you had it. But I just wanted to make sure it was all in here and in a form that was understandable. So the very first sheet is the applications that were already approved. And the recommendation, I'll go through my sheet, but the recommendations are, and the memo, and I'll read those in just a few minutes, is to fund 3 of these applications through our ARPA funding and take them out of the Building Healthy Communities funds. And the reasons that we can do this through the interim rule, they do allow aid to businesses to make improvements for ventilations, make improvements to allow for social distancing, and for planned expansions that were delayed due to COVID that are part of tourism, hospitality, travel industries. So 20 East Main Street, which is Nutmeg Fudge, 50 East Main Street, which is the Venetian, and 24 East Main Street, which is the new Geppetto's. We believe, proposing that they get funded out of the ARPA funding, which would free up $40,740 of the Building Healthy Communities Fund. Then we do not, on the second page, we listed the applications that we are recommending approval, but they're also in order of their rank. The high to the medium and low priority applications. Of these applications that are listed here, we are recommending that $246,197 be allocated to the American Rescue Plan Fund, in addition to the additional funding. So the total would be $286,937. And then the remaining applications be funded through Building Healthier Communities, which does exceed by almost $26,000 the addition to the original funding that was proposed. So we have 2 options with this, is just ask Building Healthier Communities to reallocate $25,788 so we can fund all of these applications, or we would have to reduce the number of applications that we were able to be funded, and that would start with the lowest ranking application and work our way up till we met the available funds. The second sheet is a project that everybody thought would be phenomenal for downtown. It's downtown partners on 9 of their buildings want to put lights, LED lights along the roof line, and they can have, can change lights. It would be scenery and great amenity for downtown. But that project, you see is very expensive. The grant fund alone would be $161,000, and if we funded this, we couldn't fund any of the other projects. So we, if there was funding available in some future project or state program that's out there, we would recommend approval, but not at this time because we just don't have the available funding. And then there were 4 applications that you can see that were recommending denial because either the applicant wasn't eligible. We didn't receive quotes, or there was really more residential improvement and not commercial improvements, so again, not really eligible. But again, they're all good projects, but just for one reason or another, not fitting with this project. So the recommendations from the advisory council would be to 1, allocate $260,937 of the city's ARPA funding, 17 applications as indicated on the attached document, which includes 3 previously approved applications. Approve 10 applications as listed in the document, totaling $121,899, including applications previously approved. The total grant request would be $175,788.29. Seek approval from Building Healthier Communities to reallocate $25,788.29 to this program.
If the request is denied, then low-ranking applications that are funded by the building healthier communities would be denied, starting with the lowest ranking project, and approve the ranking of the applications submitted. The advisory council is also recommending not funding the following applications. The application listed as approved if funding available due to lack of funds. All of these applications are part of one project and would install LED lighting on the roof line of each building. While the advisory committee and economic development commission support these applications, the required funding will exceed the program fund availability. And then applications denied for the reasons that are stated in the attached document. They can answer any questions that you might have.
Questions?
Excellent work. Trying to find the deal with all these numbers.
All right, then, if there was any decision to take action on any of the recommendations that Rich is making, we can table that and bring it back to the council at the November meeting, so there's time to digest all of that. That's, no, because there was no intention to take action tonight, there was just discussion. Okay, thank you, Linda, thank you. Right, we'll move right into number 7. I'll take a motion pending the approval of Board of Public Safety to accept the recommendation of the purchasing agent and Lieutenant Malone to waive the city bid process and authorize the police department to purchase ammunition from fiscal year 21-22 to the state of Connecticut contract number 19 PSX 0220. Thank you, Councilman Brennan.
Second.
And second by Councilman Waldron. Are there questions on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, I want to take a motion to accept the recommendation of the facilities manager and the public works director to waive the city bid process for the repairs and compliance upgrade to the handicap ramp at the police department and award the project to Yield Industries of Torrington, Connecticut in the amount of $32,840.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so for Councilman Waldron and second by Councilwoman Wagner. Questions on the motion?
Where's the funding?
I know the masks are so hard. Yeah, pull the microphone in close. So the current Councilman Rubino asked where the funding is coming from. This is out of capital reserve.
That is correct, Mayor, out of police department capital reserve.
And Councilwoman Wagner. you have a comment?
I think it's really proud this is budget. I'm glad to see this done. I think this is an important here.
All right, if there are no other questions or comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 9, I'll entertain a motion to accept the recommendation of the Small Cities Committee and approve the subordination of loans for 23-25 Eagle Street.
So moved.
This is Councilman Evans,
Second.
and second by Councilwoman Wagner. Questions on that motion?
Just mentioned committee that beforehand, this is a subordination. Previous one that was made a long time ago, so it's been paid down. And person here is refinancing, and the city's going to end up getting the money sooner rather than later. So this is a good thing. So I would recommend that we accept it.
Thank you. All right, I'll call the motion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10, I'll entertain a motion by the City Council acting here as a WPCA to approve the following payments from Fund Number 490 Sanitary Sewer Capital Improvements. $8,400 to Yield Industries, invoice number 1159, and the sum of $3,000. It says I put a correct the amount. It's written in the agenda incorrectly. The sum of $3,884.04. Invoice number 216306. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Waldron. Second. And second by Councilwoman Wagner. Questions on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, I'll entertain a motion to accept Corporation Council's recommendation and authorize the mayor pursuant to CGS Section 12-179 to release the lien described in Attorney Michelle's memo dated October 18, 2021.
So move.
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Waldron, second by Councilman Rubino. Questions on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 12, I'll entertain a motion to accept the recommendation of the tax collector and authorize the tax refunds indicated in the list dated September 7th and October 18th, 2021.
So,
Councilman Wagner. Second by Councilman Waldron. Questions on that motion? Hearing
That's a mistake. There's no September 7th. Sorry. It's just October.
October 18th.
Okay.
And
All right, would you modify your motion?
make a motion to accept the list dated October 18th.
Thank you. And a second. Thank you both. All right, questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 13, I'll entertain a motion by the city council acting here as WPCA to accept the recommendations of the tax collector and authorize the sewer usage refunds indicated in the list dated October 18, 2021.
Move it.
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Marino, seconded by Councilman Wagner. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 14, I'll entertain a motion to consider business by department heads.
So move.
Councilman Morgan, second by Councilwoman Wagner. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We'll go to the screen first. Anything this evening, Attorney Michelle?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Anything from Bill Mayers?
Nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ed Townsend, anything this evening?
Nothing tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, to the room, anything to add tonight, Craig?
Well, if I may, I'm just trying to answer
Thank you.
some of Rachel's questions and Jones and where I start. Homestead Sewer Project has been an arduous journey for the property owners up in that neighborhood. It has been a long drawn out process. What should have been a simple, uncomplicated sewer project really has been most difficult. So, so I understand what you have gone through. I feel like we kind of took this journey together. And it's probably not a journey that we wanted to go on. So to answer some of your questions, as you are aware that on Christmas Day in 2020, the road collapsed and a sanitation truck fell into that collapsed road. At that point, we started an exhaustive investigation into the conditions of the road. We were most concerned with the compaction as to why the void developed underneath the road and then consequently collapsed. We, over the course of the next several weeks, city engineering staff, WPCA staff, investigated the road conditions, identified areas where there was some settling that we were concerned with, installed benchmarks, and over the next several months through the winter, those areas were monitored for deflection or potential increased settlement. We did meet with Salt Marsh in January of 21 and identified those areas of the road where the settlement was occurring that had to be excavated and new process material and recompacted. The WPCA instituted an exhaustive closed circuit television program to look at the entire sewer and the laterals. So we identified a series of defects and deficiencies in the installation of some of the manhole work and some of the, obviously with the trench. We gave Salt Marsh instructions to correct the deficiencies as expeditiously as they could. As it started going on, what warmer weather started, they kind of deployed. Unfortunately, they were deploying, you know, one small machine, couple operators. They finally met with them again and gave them a directive that they had to complete the deficiencies by May 19th of 2021. On May 19th of 2021, the deficiencies weren't corrected, so I issued a work change directive instructing Salt Marsh to cease all activities on the sewer project. After that, as you've seen, as the residents have seen, the WPCA has been up there TVing, we're correcting deficiencies. 2 laterals on Homestead where the C900 pipe was connected to the SDR 30 or to the SDR 35 laterals were offset. So those had to be excavated and corrected. Otherwise, they were going to, in the future, create a blockage for the resident. There was 1 lateral on Kimball that was not connected. So that had to be corrected. So to answer the question, the project was never officially completed. So, you know, as you can see, there's some ongoing. There is a storm drainage piece of pipe that was apparently broken during the construction by Salt Marsh Industries. And then they just kind of cobbled it together. And then the drainage from the storm was pouring into the sewer trench, causing additional settling. So that is being corrected with the reconstruction of the road. So I guess that, yeah, to answer your question, it's not been officially complete. So through the WPCA's and Ed staff inspection, the sewer is functional. It passed all the pressure testing, the manholes, with the exception of 1 passed the vacuum testing. So the sewer is functional, and we did have a couple residents that I don't know if, and Mr. Towsey might be able to answer the question, if letters were sent to the homeowners indicating that the sewer is complete in that it is fully functional to serve as a sanitary sewer. So your other question was, you know, what form, you know, again, Mr. Johnson might be able to answer. Again, were you sent a letter indicating that the sewer is functional? And it's my understanding that majority of the property owners have connected and are using the sewer.
Yes, letters were sent out already. I don't have the date with me, but the letters were sent a while back that they could all hook up.
I don't believe I received that letter, Ed. So this is Rachel. So if you could kindly send a copy of that letter to me, I would be most appreciative. Thank you.
Okay.
You know, as with any construction project, the warranty period where the contractor is responsible is a 1-year warranty. It's not a warranty that the sewer is going to not last over a year. You know, we design sewers with a 50-year life. You know, and everything at this point indicates that that sewer should last the standard typical 50-year life before any major you know, rehabilitation to it should be required. So the 1-year warranty is the warranty on the contractor. But basically, he's liable for anything that occurs in that 1-year period to correct those deficiencies. Well, obviously, you know, we are not bringing salt marsh back. We feel like we have identified all the deficiencies that were known. I don't know, but it's kind of a funny story. I mean, we had compaction issues, correct? And it's not really funny. It's when Yield Industries was up doing the 2 laterals on Homestead recently, they excavated a trunk of a tree that was used as backfill. So it's I've never had to deal with a contractor that such poor work in regards to backfilling and taking care of the trenches.
Was their bond pulled?
The bond was not pulled. We currently retain everything, the expenses that the city has incurred are being deducted from their retainage. And we did file with their insurance on a number of claims. And their insurance company did, we have received payment from the insurance company for, you know, the cost, majority of the costs that were associated so far. And then the additional costs are being deducted from their retainage. So we're not incurring any additional expense in that respect. So and I don't, Rachel, as that answers all of your questions.
It does, except my concern is that the problem with compaction, which led to the December 26th
Yes.
water debacle, is still an ongoing problem because this is a hole in the road that appeared 2 weeks ago. This is a hole in the road in front of my house, May 13th, where I put that stick in the hole next to the pylon so that you could see. I took the stick underneath the surface. That is one of those driveway things. It's got to be like this tall. And as you can see, the entire thing fits under the pavement all the way around. So my worry is if compaction led to lack of compaction, led to this and, oh my goodness, this. Now that is the water pipe.
That was
Okay.
deflected.
That was
Yep.
deflected, but you can see how that dropped, what, how many feet?
It was a couple of feet, yeah.
It dropped because there was no compaction underneath it. Not your fault, I get that, but if that lack of compaction led to this problem, and you're still finding holes in the road, which is where we have the concern about old people, old people walking along the road.
So what's going on, as I indicated, that the road is being reconstructed now.
Yes.
As part of that process, then density testing on the compaction for the new road is being done on a regular basis.
Yep.
So that's part of any road reconstruction projects. We are taking the density testing on the road as it gets to be resolved. As they fine grade it, it's tested. As the first layer of asphalt gets put down, it gets tested. So hopefully all of those issues will be resolved.
What is the timeline for the repavement? I know it's under reconstruction. Has it been built? You're not under that, are you?
Yes, I mean, the road is under reconstruction. It is in a gravel state right now.
It's in the ground. Okay, that's-
According to the most recent letter that we received, the paving was to begin in the middle of September and expected to be completed. Of course, the whole city's ripped up, understand that. They're very busy. True. And there are priorities. I understand that, but as of yet,
No, it came, it's a
Yes.
priority. There's still some material there that has to be removed
yes.
so that the new road grade matches up with the driveway aprons.
Yep.
That still has to be done.
And an excavator appeared on Kimball Lane this afternoon. So obviously there will be more digging. Because it's sitting there.
Right, so as I had indicated, there's a storm pipe on Kimball that has a section of storm pipe that has to be replaced.
Would you like this? Picture album.
So that's kind of where we're at, and you know, I'll entertain any questions that the council over there has.
Questions for Ray or Rachel? I'm telling you, that binder is intimidating when she comes to my office with that. She's. Of course.
So the water line, who's that put in?
That was reinstalled by the water company, and that was paid by Salt Marsh Insurance.
And was that sad? Was that in line with the soil line?
It was the,
Ladder.
so it was a service for
Officer's house?
and so when the road collapsed, the void and then the weight above it, when that collapsed, it deflected the water service. So that was reinstalled by the water company. There was a temporary patch, but then they went back in and they did a permanent repair to the stop. Yeah. So that was everything with the water service, because the water company has their own contractors. They you know, they don't touch our sewers and we don't touch their water. So that was repaired, but that was paid for by the insurance.
Is it fair to say that this is further complicated by the fact that the trenching had to go so deep? Is that part of it?
That is, I mean, that's not really, I mean, it really was just poor workmanship. I mean, you know, what we were probably experiencing is the compactions were probably supposed to be done at 1 to 2 foot lifts, and they were probably more likely done at 4 to 5 foot lifts. You know, getting that right compaction, I mean, like, you know how that works, so.
One of the wettest seasons ever.
But, you know, I mean, we have sewers that are 30 feet deep that, you know, if properly installed, there should be no issues.
I just want to say, homestead is a priority.
Yes.
I know that they've been dealing with this for years.
So we did, the city engineer did move our prime contractor from the north end to Homestead to ensure that it gets paid before the winter sets in.
So some of the roads in the north end that were in the lineup have been delayed to the spring, so they could get up to Homestead and take care of that. I do want the neighborhood to know that we're well aware of the hardship you've all faced. And I still, every couple of weeks, just take a ride around through the neighborhood to see what you're up to. Now that this is a gravel state, I'll.
Yes, and that, you're, got some extra feet there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, it is our priority to get your neighborhood back to a walkable community that you can enjoy, and kind of hopefully at some point forgive me and put this on. Yes, I mean, I anguished over this project. I've never, I mean, for a, you know, $800,000 project. I don't have the headaches on a $66 million project that we have had with Homestead.
I know.
So, if that's any perspective, so, you know, unfortunately, you know, when we vet contractors, we've not used this contractor before. And unfortunately, when, you know, we vetted them, checked their references came back fine. We had no indication, otherwise we would not, you know, have recommended it, but it's just definitely an unforeseen, you know, situation. And, you know, I I feel for you guys, you know, and I understand what you feel too.
My main concern though really is when that clock starts on 1 year of course, that might be. I think that's information that we should have as quickly as it happens. Whenever that clock starts, I would very much like to notify the community.
Well, what you can also do too, to the contractors, you can ask for an extended warranty. The problem with that is the money that would be set aside will be an insurance policy.
Right.
It's good and it's bad in some situations.
I'm trying to follow that.
They can put an extension on the warranty service on the contractor if due possible through the bond insurance. If they want an additional guarantee of service over the years.
Over the years. That would be through the bond.
How can we make that happen?
Right, well,
Yes, we can explore that as an option.
well, I mean,
So what ends up happening is that, you know, the bond, if your effective bond gets called, you wouldn't have the same, necessarily the same contractor coming, but the bonding company would then
Is that,
absorb the good costs.
is that something that you would have to ask or require prior to the contract?
Well, we would have to define what potential deficiencies we could ask for the extended warranty based upon what we've experienced.
I can tell you that is the most televised line in the town. We've televised it probably 3 times, and we've televised it since this construction started with the reclaiming, just to make sure the vibration of the rollers didn't cause a problem. We also went back and we televised every homeowner's lateral, and we went back and we fixed any problems that we saw. So we're pretty confident that the main line is in decent shape at this point.
that's what we wanted to hear. Thank you.
I would anticipate that, you know, the sewer, you know, as it is now, the corrections and deficiencies that will, you know, give the neighborhood excellent service, as it was intended.
Any other questions here, right, on this one? All right, thank you, Ray.
Thank you very much.
Jamie, anything that you need to add this evening?
No, I'm also there.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to item 15, I want to motion to consider business by the mayor and members.
Move
Second, Councilmember Rubino, second by Councilmember Wagner. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? To the screen first, anything this evening, Councilman Albert?
No, Mayor, thank you. I can't hear, sorry.
That's it. Councilman Wagner.
Yes, but is this our last meeting before the election?
It is.
When was the next meeting?
It will be November,
With
yes, the following Monday.
8.
Yes. Yes.
What have we done for the election?
Thank you.
Councilman Wagner.
2 things. One, our friend Paul Monroe, I'm asking on his behalf to remind you that he's been requesting from me Board of Education for general discussion, starting before budget season. So I just wanted to share that. The other, it's my own thing, because I'm happy that the SMS Development Commission is almost follow and going through all these notes for this other project. I was thinking about the Conservation Commission and other commissions that we have, and they're made up of wonderful people. We don't get to hear much about what it is that people are doing. So I would like to request that in the future, maybe we can ask them to do monthly or quarterly report on what they're accomplishing. So we can appreciate what they're doing and also be aware of what is happening. We can support them.
No, that's a great idea. I think last meeting we talked about architectural review and the work that they do and we talked about bringing them before the council. So,
I think there's a lot of good work, a lot of good things that's going on. We have our community, so, you know, I'd love to hear more of that. So thank you, that's all I have. And I agree with Rick says for the.
thank you. All right, Councilman Rubino.
Since I'm not running, good luck to the rest of you. Over the last, 4 years, it's been a pleasure working with this mayor. A lot of the things that we bring forward to her, and she go forward as far as new ordinances, stuff like that, and never stood in my way. Let me go through the areas, small cities. When we first started that up, we got the mediation together where we wanted to find out where all the loans was. Dan Farley did an excellent job of researching all that and getting the monies back in twine, but because it was so sprawl out there over the years. So I want to thank the mayor and wish her the best of luck, and everyone else also. Carol, wishing you luck, like we said in the paper on Sunday, but we'll check, we'll fix that through the Republican, but that's okay. We didn't know Joe Paterno was still on as the city clerk, but that's okay. The Republican will fix that because they're up on this. But I want to thank everybody. I'll be in the background, I'm sure the mayor will be calling me for certain things, but my term doesn't end until December, I don't think, right?
That's correct.
So I got 2 more meetings. But it's been an honor, and all the staff, department heads and everybody. I wish them luck in the future. And I like what I do. This is my hobby. Everybody laughed about it, but this was my hobby. So I gotta find another hobby. Either that, because my honeydew lists are just too big. I don't want to see them anymore in my life. But that's it there.
Thank you.
I'm actually sitting next to it, even though we're not in the big system.
Okay, then let's move into item number 6. We will entertain a motion to open the meeting back to the public for comment on agenda items only. Thank you, Councilman Rubino. And second by Councilman Morgan. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Anybody from the public wishing to address the council on agenda items only? Seeing and hearing none, I'll move it into item 17. There being no further business before the board, I'll entertain motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Councilman Morgan. And second by Councilman Morgan. All in favor? Any opposed?
Bye.
Thank you all.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.